Hi there, Dave here, and this time on Time to Taste, it's time to taste a 2025 Coté Mas Aurore from France, a nice rosé. This 1 liter bottle, 1 liter, sells for $16.99 at the BC liquor store. So let's talk a little bit about this wine. So first of all, the winery. The winery Coté Mas is owned by Domaine Paul Mas, who is very, very prevalent in the French wine industry. It is a family winery owned by Jean-Claude Mas, and who is often called one of the pioneers of New Languedoc. And New Languedoc region is a big, big wine producing region in southern France. So Jean-Claude Mas combines southern French winemaking with modern techniques. And the domain now works with over 850 hectares of estate vineyards, plus partner growers across the Languedoc region. This wine is a Pays-d'Oc IGP. So IGP basically is the middle rank between AOC at the top and the Vin de France on the bottom. So it's sort of that middle wine area. So the quality might not be as much, but also there aren't as many restrictions on what winemakers are able to do. The climate for all of their wines is Mediterranean climate, which means hot, dry summers, mild winters, and cooling sea breezes to preserve freshness in the wine. It is a popular region for producing affordable, fruit-driven rosés, which is what most people want when they want to crack into a nice rosé. Now, this particular wine, it says Coté Mas, and then it says Rosé Aurore. And Aurore means dawn, which is a fitting name for its pale sunrise color. Coté Mas uses night harvesting with this particular wine, and night harvesting is common in southern France because cooler grapes retain more freshness and a better aroma. Interestingly, this wine spends 40 days on its lees, which is much longer than many inexpensive rosés, and helps give it a creamier mouthfeel without using oak. So the grapes of this wine are Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah. Grenache adds ripe strawberry flavors and body, and also contributes soft texture and the alcohol. Cinsault gives a floral aromas, elegance, and freshness, and is a classic grape for southern French rosé. And then Syrah adds the color, the spice, and red berry flavors, and it provides structure and length. And this blend of Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah is essentially the classic southern French rosé recipe, similar to what you'll find in many Provençal rosés, but at a much more accessible price. Remember I said $16.99 for a liter. By the way, Syrah does grow in the Okanagan, although it's a challenge when it gets really cold. Grenache and Cinsault can't grow here because it's just not hot enough for those grapes, or if there are some, it's very limited. Now, the vineyards for Coté Mas are clay limestone soils. The vine ages range between 8 and 36 years old, and the altitude is between 600 and 150 meters above sea level. As I said, it's a Mediterranean climate, and they use night harvesting. In the winemaking, each variety is fermented separately. So the grapes are destemmed and then pressed with pneumatic presses. So that's those big cylinders. You see them in the Okanagan, and with a bladder inside, and the grapes are put in there, and the bladder is slowly inflated, and that lets the juice run free. Only the free-run juice and the first pressing are used for better quality for this particular wine. They use cool fermentation with this wine, about 17 degrees Celsius, for approximately 2 weeks. It is aged on the lees, which are the dead sea cells. It is aged on the lees, which are the dead yeast cells, for 40 days with regular stirring, and that stirring is called bâtonnage. That's the name for it. The wine is matured in stainless steel and lined concrete tanks to preserve the fruit while adding some texture. Food pairing for this wine, excellent with chicken dishes, shrimp or prawns, niçoise salad, Greek salad, charcuterie, tapas, carbonara, soft cheeses, and picnic foods. It's also really good on its own as a patio pounder rosé. And you're supposed to serve this chilled at 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. And I've put this in the fridge for the last hour, so it's nice and cold. So let's try this Coté Mas 2025 Aurore Rosé from Languedoc, France. Well, I said appearance, clear, pale salmon. Nose, clean, medium plus intensity. It hit me right away as I'm right here. I could smell it. Um, the aromas were fresh. Just this really nice fresh fruit smells of peach, nectarine, raspberry, strawberry, maybe quince too. I smelled that as well. Acacia, I think, was the flower that I smelled. And then I got the yeasty smells of pastry right away. Pastry with like icing on it and bread dough. That's really, to me, that I could smell those. And then a sort of, for lack of a better word, vegetal as well. I couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was, but really nice fresh smell to it. I quite liked it. So palate, dry but fruity. How's that for one? Because I know it's dry, but it tastes very fruity. Uh, I said medium minus acidity. Medium alcohol, it's 12.5%, so it's right in medium. Medium body, medium intensity flavor, and medium finish. It was very medium wine to me. Um, it was fruity sweet with lower acid. Now I looked it up while we were looking, and it's got 2.5 grams per liter, so it's not a sweet wine by any chance, but it tastes quite sweet because it's so fruity, and I think it's lower in acid than what I'm used to. It was somewhat juicy, good fruit, but just like I said, just a bit sweet for me. However, with food, it does a lot better because that sweetness, like I'm having pita with this is really good hummus, and it goes really well with that. So 4-star with the food. Um, there were flavors of raspberry, strawberry, pastry, and there was still a bit of that vegetal in there behind the sweetness that I could almost taste. Right. Overall, I thought the balance was okay. The length was fine. The intensity was okay. I mean, it was quite strong, but a lot of it was the sweetness or the fruitiness, and not the wine. And it wasn't very complex. It's a simple wine. I rated it acceptable to good. That's what I thought.